So did you start motivational speaking in New York and then you kind of transferred it over to Miami?
Yeah, it started at my mom's house actually. And it started because I had a couple of friends of mine that, actually a couple of leaders within my team that reached out to me that I had started this thing called the morning routine.
Okay.
So I started a morning routine and I was getting very consistent with it. I was reading every day. I know you have all these books here and I see that you're into reading. So I started reading every day. I started meditating every day, writing in my journal every day. And a couple of my people, they saw that it was creating momentum for me. So one day I jumped on a call with them and, you know, just like evaluation, like, hey, what can I do to help you guys out more? They're like, yo, I see that you're being successful with this morning routine. Why don't you, you know, wake up in the morning and, you know, start helping us out with our morning routine and do a call for us? So I'm like, yeah, no problem, bro. We start tomorrow, 9 a.m. And it started as a morning motivation. Okay. And then it turned into mornings with Neno. Because then we started to share with other people. We're like, because it's more mindset, it was like, yo, just share it with anybody you know that needs a little boost of motivation before they go to work. So it started as just like this morning motivation call where we would just hop on for 45 minutes to an hour. And I would just teach from the things I was learning in books, you know, about discipline, consistency, motivation, and all these things. And next thing you know, man, they blew up, bro. They blew up. It went from 20, 30, 40, 50 people to thousands and thousands. And at some point during COVID, I had 6,000, 7,000 people on average on a Zoom call, jumping on every morning to listen to me talk about, you know, mindset, leadership, the spiritual side of success. And, you know, it blew up very, very big.
And how long was each, like how long were the calls?
An hour, 9 to 10.
That's a long time to talk though.
Yeah, I know.
And is it just you straight up talking or is there any kind of back and forth?
For the most part, it was just me talking. Eventually, I started to add, you know, guests in and almost like a podcast in a way. Before podcast became big, I would like, me and Manning doing a call together and we would put like a flyer together and we would be on the call and we would go 30 minutes each. So, you know, for the most part, it was about 45 minutes to an hour and I would just do them every day, Monday through Friday. And still to this day, I do them. They started June 20th, 2019. So this year.
Wait, every morning?
Every morning, still to this day.
Really?
Still to this day.
Okay.
And in this June, it'll be 6 years since I've done them nonstop. Never stopped doing them.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through
9
Friday.
a.m.
Rain or shine.
Well, that's amazing. Talk about no days off.
No days off, exactly. I mean, you know, the weekends, but
but you're probably preparing for the upcoming week.
Exactly.
It's a lot of preparation in that.
It's a lot of preparation, but it forced me to read all the books. You know, over the years, I've read over 100 books. I've been to so many events. I've listened to hundreds of podcasts and audios because people are expecting me to show up every single day. And every day there's new people on these calls. So, you know, since there's new people on the call, I don't want to get them on the call and be like, oh, this sucked. You know, I want to show up as my best every day. So every day I'm intentionally showing up with different topics, different ideas. And a lot of it, you know, with success, a lot of it is repeated topics in different ways and different delivery.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, I still, you know.
I've been saying the same thing for 15 years.
Exactly.
So trust me,
it's the same thing.
Exactly.
So that's how it started and it blew up, bro. And then I turned it into a podcast. And then next thing you know, I'm being invited all around the world. And
that's an amazing story.
I've been to like 26 different countries now till today, like traveling and speaking on stages in English and Spanish too, because I'm bilingual. So it ended up working out for me great. And it just started as a podcast at my mom's house.
Is it on Zoom still?
No, it's actually on YouTube now.
Okay.
It's on YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I actually got hired by $1 billion company to do it paid now, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So you can only watch it for free now, Tuesdays and Thursdays on YouTube and on my Instagram. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you have to be a part of like the private group and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, that's
it worked out.
Leveling up. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I did it for free for so many years.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I think a lot of people probably hear your story and it's like, oh, I'm going to start doing this, you know, which, you know, they can.
Of course.
But I want you to kind of take it back to where you just said you did it for free for years. So how many years did you do it for free?
3.5, close to 4 years before, you know, I did it.
And was there ever a moment in those 4 years that you were like, man, I got to make some money? Like, how am I going to keep doing this?
Yeah, you know.
Not that you weren't making money, but just, you know, that particular commitment, that's a real huge commitment, huge dedication to something that the outside world would say, what are you doing this? You're not getting paid. So talk about that a little bit.
You know, there was something that I learned. They say, my mentor once told me, said, you have to learn to work without getting paid so you can get paid without work in the future. So the way I was looking at it, I was like, yo, this whole time I'm just learning to work without getting paid. I'm gonna just serve my purpose, which is to help others achieve their full potential. So, through the years, I just did it. After a while, I was like, man, I need to find ways to make money, because it's cool after a while when you're doing it for free.
Right.
But a year passed, 2 years passed, 3 years passed, and there's still no real compensation coming from it. But I just trusted God.
What were you doing for work during that period?
My digital entrepreneurship business. I was building my business where I was trading, investing in crypto. And also, I was also helping other people with coaching online and stuff like that. Right. So that was kind of like my moneymaker. But all my leads came from my morning calls, because people were jumping on and they're like, you know what, Neno, what do you do? I want to learn more about what you got going on. So
there was some fruit from it early on.
There was, because it helped me build my business,
right.
My digital entrepreneurship business. It helped me build it. Like, a lot of people showed interest, and especially during that time, during COVID 2020, around the time where people were like now looking into online based businesses and trading and investing. During that time, a lot of people reached out to me, because that's what I was known for as well. Okay. But all the leads were created from the morning calls. So, people say that they join you, not the business.
Right.
So people were naturally just joining me, and they're like, yo, I want to learn how to trade. I want to learn how to invest. I want to learn how to travel and do all these things that you do. So I wouldn't say I didn't get compensated from it, because a lot of people did come into the business, but directly from the calls, there was no real compensation. It was
kind of like a lead generator.
It was like a lead generator, almost, in a way, an indirect lead generator, because I never did it with the intention to create leads,
right.
But it naturally created them.
And then there was ever a moment where you're like, man, I just don't know if I'm gonna keep doing this if it's for free.
Yeah, there was a time, because you're almost forced every day, and because you commit to it, everybody's expecting you every single morning, 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, rain or shine. Like, there were times I went to sleep late, I still had to be up at 9 a.m.
Right.
There were times I was going through tough times in business, life, relationships. I still had to be up no matter what, and show up and put a smile on my face.
Yep.
And
I'm sure you were sick some days.
They were sick. There were days that I was on the call drinking, tea and stuff, and I was coughing and I had a fever. But my thing was, I got to show up no matter what, because as a leader, I always believe that as a leader, you have to show up no matter what the circumstances are. So for me, that was that. But then after a while, I just started to realize I had to let it go and leave it to God. And I said, I'm going to let God control this. And if it's meant for me to be compensated for this, then I will be. And literally like 6 months later, company, I don't know. Are you familiar with Bob Proctor?
Is that the Dr. Bob Proctor? Is he a doctor or no?
No, he's not a doctor. Okay. But he's Bob like a huge motivational speaker.
Okay,
and
I've never heard.
He partnered with our company, and he launched the personal development side within our company. But he passed, God rest his soul. And during that time, they were looking for somebody to fill in his shoes.
Wow.
And because I was the guy that had been doing the calls for 3.5 years, it just all aligned. And it was like, okay, Neno, we want to hire you as our guy to lead.
Preparation meets opportunity.
Exactly.
It's so all those years.
All those years of free calls and so on and so forth. Now the company says, hey, we need a mindset guy. I've been the guy that's been omnipresent. I've been everywhere. Consistent. They can trust me. Yep. Everybody loves me. I lead by example. They know they can count on me. I'm showing up every single day, Monday through Friday. So they're like, yo, you're our guy. And they made me the founder of the personal development platform for their company. And, it's been up from there, and they brought me in, and that's where now the compensation started.
That's amazing, man. Amazing. Bro. Good for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
that. That's a great story. And it's also a great lesson for people out there. Like, when you start something, there's no such thing as immediate success. Of course, everybody hits the jackpot every now and then, once in a blue moon. But the majority of people need to understand it's the daily drip. It's the consistent effort every single day that compounds and compounds and compounds, regardless of the way you feel, regardless of the frustrations, regardless of the setbacks, the obstacles. If you keep showing up for yourself, eventually something positive is going to come from it. It has to. There's no way it won't. Yep. And it could be 4 years later. But look at that. And the truth is, wouldn't you say those 4 years kind of flew by regardless?
So fast.
Like, time goes by fast no matter what you're doing.
So fast.
So you might as well be doing something that's planting seeds instead of sitting around waiting on something to happen. Go make it happen. Go make it happen. And that's exactly what you did.
That's exactly what happened.